Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, Today I'm working on a pretty special project. I've done these before. I've done it's the baby onesie album. Um, but today I need to craft. I need to entertain my brain and just shut off from from everything just for a little bit. Anyway, so I'm just gonna show you how I put it together, and then I'll come back with everything cut, and then we could assemble. I started with this onesie. This is how I did my previous one, and I did ungroup this so that I had, just everything separate. Um, I didn't use any of these, so I'm just gonna delete that. And these are the two pieces that I used to make my onesie. And what I did was that I just shrunk this one just a little bit in order to kind of fit it in so we can have a border. If you want to do this a little bit more accurate, you can always just do an offset, which will also work, but I just minimize things a little bit here and there and just left a cute little border around, so the little onesie, which will be in the pattern paper, this part would just pop up a little bit. Anyway, so then I took that one away, and I wanted to make 4 pattern sheets, so it would be the one that either solid or whatever you wanted to put under this one, and then the inside of the book, and the inside and outside of the back of the book. So we have all of our covers covered, and so I just duplicated that. Okay, so then I wanted to make this really solid, so I wanted to put 2 pieces of 110-pound white card in the middle, kind of sandwiching all the pattern papers with those 2 cards in the middle, just to add extra support. So I just went ahead and I took one of these and I duplicated it, and then I turned it white so I could know that was my white card, and then I just duplicated it 4 times. And that's how I made the front and back covers of my album. So I just sent that to cut. If you wanted to make like, let me push these to the side. And since I'm not going to use them right now, I'm just going to group this and shut it off so it's not bothering. Oh, wait, I need to sneeze. I'll be right back. Okay, I just shut off my mic. Okay, so if you wanted to go ahead and make like a little strap that goes on the this part of your project, I mean, you can just duplicate this so you don't damage one, and now you can work with this one that you could just really cut up. All right, you can add a shape. Just get any rectangle and kind of size up how big you want your strap to be. So kind of a belt if you're making this for a little girl, which I am. And then you have that. Okay, and you could do that with any part of the album, as you'll see when I cut everything out. Okay, I also wanted some flowers, so I went back to my images, and then put flower. See if it ever works. I don't know what's wrong with Cricut today. Okay, well, it's just not working. Um, I chose some little I guess they're roses, right? The rolling flowers that you roll up. Never used them before, so that's gonna be interesting. I had already cut those out just to make this project go a little faster. So I'm gonna um, cut out the pieces that I'm missing, and I'll be right back. Okay, so these are my pieces. Um, like I said, I cut out 2 thick white panels, 1 sheet for the back, 1 sheet for the front of the inside panel. So we have that. Once this is glued, it's going to feel really solid. And then for the front, I did the same. Now I noticed that this, I think I mentioned this before in my previous video. This one, when you're going to cut one of these panels, you should kind of flip it. Let me see if that'll work here. And it does because I don't have a pattern. So you kind of flip it so it lines up correctly, because it's not a perfect cut. Right, then let me see if this one lines up. It should, because it's just gonna go on top. And I think we're pretty good to go. And then the strap that I said you can cut out, I did it out of gold. So that would go right here. I don't know if I'm gonna use it yet, but I cut it anyway. And then these are my little flowers that we're gonna roll. How they're gonna work, I don't know. And again, cut me some slack here. I've never done these before, so we'll see if I even end up using it, because I normally do the flowers that you kind of die cut. Well, not kind of, you do die cut. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing our panels together. Now we need ribbon in the middle. So I'm going to put ribbon in the middle of these 2 guys, and that's what's going to tie our book together. Normally you would have like it attached somewhere, but in this case, since it's kind of a shape, it's easier just to tie them, and it's going to look cute. It's going to add a little more interest to it. Now we can either use our mauve ribbon, or let me see if I can open this guy. And I bought these ribbons at the Dollar Tree. You get 9 feet for $1.25, and they're very pretty. So why not? Or we can use the darker ribbon. Honestly, since it's going to be a book to just have some pictures of a little baby girl, I'm going to use the lighter one. So we're going to put that one away. And we're going to cut 2 of these, and I'm going to cut more than less. Oops, I'm sorry. Let's steady that camera. All right. I'm going to cut more than less, just because I don't like to struggle with my bows. Okay. And then we're going to glue these in between, but before we do that, we're gonna put this one to the side. This one ended up being a pretty good thickness also, so that's a plus. I'm gonna add glue, and I'm gonna make sure that I cover as much as possible and really get close to those edges. And I'm just gonna glue this on. Press. And we're gonna do the same thing with the back. For the back part, I just chose, oh wait, did I do this right? Okay, yes. For the inside, I chose this pretty pattern. I'm using different papers on each side. They're all in the same color family, so this will work. This is actually from a a fall pad that's available at Michael's. I found it fairly recently, so if you're looking for that, actually I didn't find it. It was found for me. Let me correct myself. All right. Okay, we got that. And let me see. No, I know handmade is not supposed to be perfect, but this one I want it to be as close to perfect as possible. So I'm gonna try to scooch all this over, and I'll add more glue to make sure it doesn't come apart. And this is why I use wet glue, because it gives me that chance to move things around that tapes don't. All right, you know, when things don't want to behave, they just don't behave. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's gonna be close enough. Let me put more glue. And let me turn it around and do the same on this side if it lets me. All right, some of it glued. Okay, let's get some here. On the other side. Most of this paper is going to be covered by a little second accordion file insert, so we can put our pictures. So we have that, and then this will go on top, and then our ribbon will go in the middle. I mean, having the ribbon there just gives you more to like work with, but you have no choice but to put it in now. So the ribbon will go there, and then our other piece will go here, and then we have our pattern that goes on top. So it ends up being a really thick cover, solid. So I mean, if it's open and closed a lot, it won't get too damaged. So I'm gonna just more or less eyeball these, and then I'm gonna put a piece of tape to hold it in place. And then I can just go ahead and glue around it. Okay, so we're gonna add enough glue. And I'm gonna add glue under here as well, so it doesn't move out the way. Just don't wanna damage my ribbon too much. And I'll leave that piece of tape in there, it's not gonna be seen. And let's add some glue to the top of this. Really fill this in. And now we could go ahead and sandwich this part on top. Okay, let me see. So we kind of end up with that. Okay. Now we could, if we wanted to, we could cut a couple of more pieces of this and pop it up, or get a piece of foam, or maybe like a foam board, and cut it out and pop this up a little bit. I'm just trying to decide if that's something that I want to do. And honestly, we could just come back with a pencil and paper. Let me try to do that. Let me see if that works. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this around so I don't damage it because I'm known to do that. I also wanted to say thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed, and the ones who have recently subscribed also. That don't craft yet, you just support people in your community. You don't understand how much I appreciate that. And also a thank you to Linda from Linda Tolman Creates, and Denise from Bone Tired Traveler. Um, y'all don't understand how you guys have made me smile and really feel welcome in your communities. I appreciate that. I don't take those things lightly. Okay, so we have that. And let's just cut this out. Let's just trim that out. It doesn't matter if this part is not perfect because you're really not going to see it. It's even better if you just go above the line so you know it's small enough to fit under the pattern. So I'm just going to trim it up a little bit more. And let's do that. So I'm going to finish cutting this out and I'll be right back. Okay, so the two pieces are cut and I'm just holding it together so I can glue it and it doesn't move because I'm not the greatest at lining things up. So let's go ahead and put some glue. Okay, let's do that. And then add the rest here. So we have just a little bit of height, not much, just a tiny bit, and then that could go there. And if we were going to use this, then this would go here, just to add something else to it. And I also cut out like some pieces that we can add to the bottom, just kind of to break up the pink a little bit. So yeah, I kind of like that. And just want to make sure it's not damaged. And if you wanted to, you could even emboss these with some kind of texture. So if it gets banged up, it won't make a difference. And then I figure we can roll some flowers and put them here. I also cut out these little pieces that we can add. So that's how it starts coming together. We can go ahead and just glue this panel down. And then we'll decide what goes on top. enough glue so it doesn't come apart. Get that glue off. And it starts coming together fairly quickly. And then this will go here. We're gonna do the same thing to the back card, and then, the back panel, and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's see how these little roll flowers go. This one I'm really nervous about. So I'm just gonna pinch it there, and I'm gonna start rolling. Kind of feel I should have kind of like softened the fibers of the cardstock before rolling, but I'm already here, so let's continue. Okay. Oh no. Right, I'm gonna have to just try to roll it and then smash it down. I warned you guys, never did these before. Alright, let's just bring that down. See if we can tighten this one up. And then I guess it's something like that. I think we have to add the glue. And I guess that's the way they're supposed to look, like little flowers. Okay, let me get some leaves and just hold this until it dries, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put some of this tape down. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be in and out of this video, but my mood is starting to change. Thank you, Jesus. All right, so we're gonna put this down. And this is double-sided tape, and I'm just using the tape as kind of a barrier. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I put the tape here, like I said, just so I can be able to add the glue without making the gold kind of warp. So we're just gonna take these off, and I'm gonna add, you know what, I don't need that part. I'm gonna add some glue. And let's see if I can get that to stick. And we're gonna put our glue right on top so I can move it around. Okay. And I got some glue there, but I can take that off once it dries with my adhesive remover. So we have that. And with the adhesive remover, you just pass it and it comes right off. Cleans everything up. Which I'm not too concerned about because my flowers are going to go there, but let's just clean it up at least a little bit and take it off of this edge. Okay. I'm going to have to let it dry a little more. Okay. All right. So we can start putting our flowers down. So something like that. And then we can add all of our little flowers here. So I'm going to do that so I don't make the video too long. I'm going to let it dry and then we're going to start working on the inside. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now I measure that we're going to need 2 pieces of card. Well, it's going to be folded like a card base, but we're going to need them to be, I'm going to say 6.5 by 4. Okay, but one of them, instead of 4, we're going to cut it at 4.5, just so we have something to glue on. Now I have a card that's big enough, like I have a cardstock that's big enough to just use one piece, but just so you guys see what I'm doing, I'm just gonna do it this way. Let's see. Let's cut this at 6.5. And then one of them we're going to cut at 8.5. But we're going to score it at 4 inches, right? Okay, let's see. And then we're going to need another one. That's also 6.5. But this one we're just going to cut at 8 inches. Okay. Alright, so now we can score them. Get my score tool. Alright, so the one that's 8 by 6.5, we're going to score a 4. And we're going to just burnish that. Make sure that crease is nice. And then this one, we're going to also score at 4. And then at 8 inches. So we have that little piece that we can glue over. Right. So let me get that nice and creased properly. Make sure this one is as well. I think it's shifted a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to glue these together. So we're going to have something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue them and I'll be right back. Okay, so they're glued. So it's end up being, you have 4 panels on this side and then you're going to have 2 on this side because these are going to go glued. And we're just going to glue it right here. So let me add some glue. Sorry about that. My kid decided that she wanted to scream. She's not even a kid. She's an adult. Okay. So let's do this. Just add it there and then here. And now we're going to press down. And then we can add the glue to this side. You could have made it a little smaller, but I want to get the most photographs on this as I can. Okay. Now let's get this one, and we're just going to line this up. Make sure that we get it all straight. Now we can press down. I'm going to hold it here so it can dry, and then I'm going to cut some panels out so we can decorate the inside. So I'll be right back. Okay. So they're all cut, and we're just going to start gluing these guys down. And they're going to go right there. Okay. So we have the first one, and this is where we're gonna be able to glue all of our photographs. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and like cut some borders out for like the little Polaroid pictures. Actually, it's a Sprocket. It's a printer that prints little photographs. So we have that. All right. Okay, and let's do the last one. And then we have the floral ones, these for the back. Okay, right there. And then we'll just bring this around. And then these will go here. Let's make sure our flowers are the right way. What is the right way? Let's do it this way. I guess there's no wrong or right way with this pattern. Okay. Have that one. And let's make sure it's going the right way, this way. Let's flip this one, and then we can glue this one right here. And we can just press, and we're going to let that settle for a minute, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it is done. It is dry. And this is what our inside looks like. I will add pictures and little sentiments, and I'm gonna put something another sentiment around here. I just don't know what I wanted to say yet. This is gonna be one special little memory book, and this is our back cover, and then this is that part, and then when you tie them, they end up it looks like that. Isn't that precious? And thank you for watching me make this, even though I made something similar before. It's just a very emotional project. So it took me actually the entire day to make. But yeah, we can trim this ribbon down. Let's get our scissor, and then I'll get a lighter and seal the edges. And let's cut that a little bit there. And here we go. Precious keepsake for a precious girl. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys real soon. I'll take pictures when I put all the sentiments in, and share it with you guys. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.